It's Thursday at 10:30 once again. And this is Alan welcoming you to his treehouse of books, in which his creativity room is in the distance that I've shown you before. Today's topic, done in 3 different lengths, one for those who are just visiting. If you're new to the idea of using creative thinking tools or processes or methods, this was a technique when I first got exposed back in 1978 to things like brainstorming and Scamper and morphological listing, and the list went on and on. During that one conference in 78, I went to 25 90-minute sessions plus 1 or 2 sessions at night that lasted for 60 minutes or 90 minutes. And almost every single one of them was about a tool or a technique. I had never heard of these before, other than just a brief introduction to Scamper by Bob Everly 2 years before. For me, it was all new. I had been someone who worked in a few different creative fields: architecture, design, in graphics, interior, writing, cartooning. But the idea that I could deliberately boost my creativity at any given time. Alex Osborne's excellent book, Applied Imagination, was just the beginning of literally thousands, if not tens of thousands of books and articles about this topic of deliberate creativity or applied imagination. So I used mine shortly after that first week and came up with an acronym-based system. Acronyms make it easier for us to remember, at least for me. And I thought, I'm going to collect these. I already have started collecting these. What does the word collecting lead to? And it led immediately to either stamps or coins. And the word stamps seemed to fit for me. You may find your own. That's the key issue. One of the lessons I've learned is training and speaking and doing workshops now for over 40 years is when the idea comes from the learner, they tend to remember it. It may still be a translation of what you said, but they needed to put it into their words, into a context that fit their lives, their backgrounds, their personalities, or the common thing called thinking style preferences. So I chose the word stamps because I had been a stamp collector as a young boy. And here's what I'm going to share in this short session. The stamps stand for 6 basic, I'm going to have to rehearse this again. All right. To take the word stamps, put it vertically, and think of S I use for systems, because I found that there are systems that require a series of steps, whether they're followed linearly or randomly or holistically, that's up to the individual. Techniques and tools, for me, were single exercises, generally open-ended, and more what a lot of people were talking about back in the 80s and so forth, right brain, flexible, fluent, spontaneous. Attitudes or approaches, for me, they were mental or emotional moods, usually more affective than cognitive. What a supervisor can do, what a parent can do, what you can do, using music, using a nice meal, using a dessert, things that will get you into the mood. Unfortunately, many people have used various types of drugs over the years. I don't recommend that personally. Methods, I use that word as a single systematic exercise, mostly left brain, meaning based on logic, linear thinking, not fluent, flexible, erratic, or divergent thinking. And the P for me was processes, a plan, a pattern of exercises or steps, more in the right brain approach than a system. That's how I distinguish between the 2 words, playing with semantics. And last, the S was for strategies. General approaches ranging from right to left, from holistic to just a basic word when I studied strategic planning, which was a very popular and an easy sell in the 70s and 80s, was for me, strategic planning is making choices for a reason, for a purpose, or to support a passion. So once again, systems, tools and techniques, attitudes or approaches, methods, processes, and strategies. Let's take a moment before I move on to a more in-depth. And once again, there's Brant. Hello to Namibia. Someday in a few months, we'll be actually going hello there, and I'll talk to you and see you on Sunday. Now for the longer version. I'm not going to repeat it, but what I do in a chapter, it's called Chapter 7 in my book, Broken Crayons, that I published initially with Kendall Hunt back in '95, and it's been republished in different countries, and I became the publisher in '97 for a variety of reasons. It's available in paperback. Some copies still exist, but it's available electronically if you're interested. But if you will write to me, either on Facebook or email alan@CRE8ng.com, I will gladly send you what I'm reading from right now, which is Chapter 7 or Chapter C. You'll see in the book I've numbered them as well as lettered them. And this chapter is called Genuine Thundering Ahas, which was what I was after by using idea generation techniques and making creativity happen as a facilitator or a group leader, a team leader. After explaining the basic core or the hierarchy of the system, I then provided examples of different ones, and I'm just going to cover a couple of them here as examples, and I encourage you to contact me, and I will send you the electronic file, and you can read it in more detail. All right, under stamps, under A, the stamp is an example. This stamp is an example of attitude tool of creativity. The purpose of the exercise is to assist you and your group in altering your organization and enhancing, encouraging, developing. Notice I like to use a lot of verbs. So much for that humor. Striving towards the ideal organization, or what I call a creating organization. What you do is you choose from one of the following metaphors or an analogy. And I have 16 listed here. I'll just give you a few: crossing a circus, toolbox, farmer's market, a game preserve, and then ask the following questions. In what ways might your organization be like a circus, a toolbox, a farmer's market, a game preserve? Then you do the following. Describe the managers, describe the employees, what could be their strengths, what might be their weaknesses. The purpose of the exercise is get the people, whatever number of people, whether it's a pair or a threesome or a small team of 5, to open up, change the metaphor of what their office is. Instead of seeing it in negative terms, see it in positive, fun terms. The second one is the basic tool and technique that most people use the word, but I'm not sure most people still use it as a true tool. They use it as a cliche, and that is brainstorming. I have an article on one of my websites about that. Are you talking about Alex Osborne's tool or that cliche that stands for badly run meetings? And that's most of the case. Most of the research that supposedly negates brainstorming are poorly done, and they're done with groups, not teams. They're not done with facilitators who are trained or experienced in leading brainstorming sessions. So this stamp is an example of a technique or a tool. Brainstorming, of course, as I mentioned, Alex Osborne, back in the 30s, he wrote about it in the 40s, and so forth. And his basic beginning back then was 4 guidelines, not rules, guidelines. 1, quantity breeds quality. If one group has 1,000 ideas and another group has 4, The odds are the ones with the quantity would have the more creative. Not always a guarantee. No judgment is permitted. This is an issue that's hard for most cultures because we're taught to judge. We're encouraged to judge rather than support. The principles of improv from various schools that I'm aware of is everything the answer is yes, or yes and, never yes but. That tends to kill it. Alex wrote in Applied Imagination and many other writings, we need to stop judging. It's not possible to judge and ideate at the same time. Our brains don't function that way. Seems to fit my life and the examples I've seen over the years. Third, hitchhiking is encouraged. I hear an idea over here. I hear an idea over here. I combine the two of them. I make a new idea, or myself and another. We keep sharing ideas and we keep combining them. That's called hitchhiking. And last, free-flowing thought is promoted. That's one of the challenges that a lot of us have to learn how to free-flow ideas and not be judging them, not criticizing them, not being critical of them. Get the ideas out first. And then use your analysis, your logic, your rationale, and various techniques that you can use to decide that this idea works better than that idea versus that idea versus this idea. Don't do it while you're ideating. You will kill the spirit. Those are two examples. I encourage you today to do the following. Choose a common brick. Choose a piece of scrap paper. Choose some falling tree leaves and generate 144 ways you might use them. Once again, I want to say thanks to Brant, to Utilia, hi Utilia, and to my friend from Ghana, Derarachi. I'll learn how to spell it. Hopefully I'll see you in South Africa in October. Have a great day, folks.